Yeah, let's do it.
You sure? Let's do it. You ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? All
I'm
right.
ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a good one. Deadwood Jedi is going to be joining me to go over a new tool on his website, deadwoodjedi.com, made by Zombie Lord, and it is going to be based around optimizing your arena team, getting the turn rotation right, getting the speeds right, so that you can build the best arena team possible. Let's get into it. Alrighty, and now I'm joined by Deadwood Jedi for like the third or fourth appearance on the channel by now, becoming quite the regular. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It's always good to talk to you, brother.
Similar. Likewise, I'm excited for this because we've got a new tool to hit your website, deadwoodjedi.com. Lots of good resources on there. You want to walk us through the tool we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you very much. I'm really excited. We got a new calculator on the website. I've only had one on like officially before, so this is, I think, going to be really helpful for the community out there. It's an arena calculator. It came to me from via Zombie Lord, who's streaming on Twitch, so you definitely should check him out. Zombie Lord Gaming on Twitch, and but he put together this amazing calculator. He hit me up. When I put my first calculator out there, the Clan Boss one, he hit me up and was like, hey, this is something I think we should do. And I was like, I'd love to. I don't have the time. But please keep working on it. Let me know. And he did, and he came to me with it. And I think this is a fantastic addition to the site. I'm really grateful that he continued to work on it and, came back to me to put it on. So I think this is really going to be really good for the community, be able to, improve your teams in arena, not just in Clan Boss. So
awesome. Yeah, and it's been up there for a little bit, a couple days, I think. I've purposely held off on ever using it until now because I want a perspective of a first time using it and the questions that would come up along the way. So we'll kind of go over the easiest and most simple way for you to get value out of this calculator, and then I'll let Deadwood Jedi explain some of the more advanced things that you can do with it as well. So let's go ahead, and I guess for a test run, let's plug in my arena team. We'll start there. So what would I be doing to start here?
So the very first thing you're going to want to start with is you're basically going to go from top to bottom. And if you're just doing this for the first time, you're just trying to speed tune your team in the simplest way possible, all you need to worry about are the white boxes. That's it. If it's white, not gray. If it's white, then that's what you're going to need to do the basic speed tuning. So you're going to want to start at the top. Start with your speed aura champion. So whatever your speed aura champion is, you're going to want to put that in. And if you notice, it all comes down by aura speed. So you can see the very fastest speed aura is Lord Shazar, and then it goes down in descending order. So who's your lead champion?
It's going to be Arbiter.
Arbiter. So you just choose Arbiter, get that 30% aura.
Okay.
And it's nice and simple. And then we just keep going down that list. So you're going to put Arbiter in. I assume Arbiter is your fastest champion.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
And is every champion in here, or is there some cases where they're going to have to type it in?
I believe every single champion is in there.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, you can. So I don't think you have to type in anybody. Some of the newer champions might not be included. The ones that we've just received, like in the fragment system, or fusions, whatever, come down the line. It might take a little bit to get those in, but everybody else should already be in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and unless they really have an effect on speed, either for your team or your ally, it's not really crucial anyway, much like the Clan Boss calculator. As long as the speed doesn't affect they don't affect speed at all, it's not really going to matter. You can use a substitute champion in that spot. But you're going to, whoever your fastest champion is, I assume it's Arbiter, but it could be somebody else.
Yep,
so
Arbiter.
Go ahead and put their name in under the fastest champion.
Okay, done.
And then you're going to use whatever skill they would use first. So Arbiter, I'm pretty sure that's the A3 ability.
Yeah, she does the turn meter filling, the A3. Yep. Okay,
exactly.
Cool. So let's
go ahead and
put that in. Okay.
And then you want to put in, is she wearing any speed sets? Lore of Steel?
Yep, she's got the Lore of Steel and 3 speed set bonuses.
Okay, cool. So go ahead and put those in too. Now, those things, the speed sets and lower steel, has a minuscule effect on the total speed. It's only going to improve it or decrease it at a maximum of 1. It won't have a huge effect. But at the very high ends of like Plat Arena, that can have a major impact on your team. That's why it's included in there. But for most people, you don't even need to worry about it. It's very minuscule, the amount of difference there. And then you're going to want to fill in that display speed.
I see the default is 100, so you just got to change it to what your champion's is.
Exactly. So you just need to change that to the speed of your champion. That's the speed that it's showing in the game, and then we'll get the calculated speed from that.
And one quick thing I do want to note is I had to click off that box to get it to update. So like it didn't update when I typed it in. Like you
Right.
see, if I change it back to 100, it doesn't update. I have to click out the box and then it'll change things, I think.
That's very true. It's a lot like my clan boss calculator. It's the same it's the same setup. So it is the same type of thing. You do have to click out of it in order for it to actually update.
Okay.
But you should see, what's the speed of your arbiter again?
Total is 325.
So then the calculated speed, I believe, should be 357.54. Is that right?
Oh, displayed is not base speed. That's going to be total. Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yep. So 357.54. I was putting in base speed. Okay. Yep.
The base speeds are already included for all these champions. So it's gonna update that stuff automatically for you. So you can see that calculated speed. That's going to take into account the speed sets, the lower steel, as well as that speed aura. And so you can also see above, in the box above that, where it says display enemy speed and calculated enemy speed, we always assume, so the thing about an arena calculator, we always assume that the enemy champion is as fast as our fastest champion. That's the high end of being able to tune it. They can't be any faster than us, otherwise they'd actually go first. So the premise behind this is that we go first. If the enemy goes first, the calculator is not really helpful for us. This is only to ensure that when we go first, we don't get cut in. So we assume their enemy champion is as fast as our fastest champion. And then other things that we can do might affect the speeds that they would need to go to like be as fast as our champion. That's why those numbers up there can change.
And there's something I want to mention really quick because I heard you say it. Talking about getting cut in. For anybody that's newer out there, maybe early mid game and don't know what that means. Let's say you have a champion that's 300 speed and your next fastest is 180. Just because your 300 speed champion goes first and boosts turn meters, even after that boost, if the gap is too large, the other team will cut in that gap, and then they'll boost up, and then they'll fill in that gap and go ahead and slam you down. So when we talk about getting cut in, that's what this tool is designed to prevent. It's supposed to show you if your turn meter booster takes a turn, boom, it's over. The rest of your champions are going to go. Am I right on that?
100% right. 100% right. That's exactly it. The whole idea here is how to tune your team so that you don't get interrupted when you're going through your turns. Cool. That allows you to use like all your champions in a row and like totally destroy the other team before they even have a chance to go. Cool. So we've got Arbiter at 357.54, and what is the next step? We go down to second champion? Right. So just real quick, I do want to point out your Arbiter speed is already established. That's the speed your Arbiter's at. The point of this calculator is not to figure out how fast your fastest champion has to be. It's how fast your next champions need to be so that you don't get interrupted in between. So if you go down to the next box, the purple box, that's going to be the speed that's displayed there. That's the speed that champion needs to go at to not be interrupted. So I'm pretty sure, does it show it naturally, or so you have to fill in a second champion. So who's the second champion that you have?
Lysandra.
Great.
And
so
then
you're gonna
she does A3.
Yep.
Okay, and then her displayed speed in game will be 268. It doesn't. You don't have to put that in. It's just showing me the minimum.
So the minimum speed that Lysandra needs to go to not be interrupted is 263 speed, right?
But where do you see that?
So you see the name for Lysandra. You see the skill next to it. Without filling in the skill, the minimum speed is right next to her name.
But mine says 238.83.
You put it, because you put in her A3 ability, her skill ability.
Yep.
And so that's going to alter that minimum speed, basically. And so that's the minimum speed you're going to want Lysandra at. The 238.83 is going to be that minimum speed.
Okay.
And then and then it filters all the way down to the other champions. Now, part of it is too the minimum speed of the next champions can bump up the speed of the one after it.
Yeah.
So that's partially why.
Why did you say 260 something or whatever?
I think I put something in a little off. Oh, it's because. All right. So here's the thing. Your Lyssandra's going to go second for you. You have that established because you put her in the second slot.
Mm-hmm.
If your next champion has to go faster in order to not be interrupted, then that's going to increase the minimum speed for Lysandra.
Oh, okay. And you had other stuff kind of plugged in already.
I have other stuff plugged in already. That's why I did that.
Okay.
Gotcha. So you don't have any other champions plugged in. So that 238.83, that is the minimum speed Lysandra needs to go.
If I just had a 2-person team, Arbiter, Lysandra, boom, that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. If you just want to make sure Lysandra goes before their next champion and you don't get interrupted between those two, those are the speeds that you want right there.
Cool.
If you need to though establish the third champion, then you're going to want to fill that in. Mm-hmm. And that can alter that number because the third champion might not get any boost. And because their fast champion is still the same speed as our Arbiter going at an insane 325, the needed speeds to keep up can actually increase because of that.
And now I see when I put Saris in, it did change my Lysandra. Yep.
Exactly. So now if you put Lysandra's A3 ability in there, you'll see that minimum speed goes back to that 238 and A3.
Yep. You're right. And then I put Saris A3, okay.
And you can see Madame Saris's minimum, I believe, is 186.
Mine says 174, but I haven't put in the fourth champion yet, so that could change it.
So that's probably what's going to change it. Yeah. So who's your fourth champion then?
It'd be Trunda.
So let's put in Trunda.
All right, and so then it's irrelevant because she's the last one, so we don't have to put any of her speeds and stuff. Okay.
You don't need to worry about the skills for her, but you can see now the speed for Madame Saris is 186, and that's why. So that is something that people should be aware of. If you take off that last champion, and that's a great example of that, just by adding that last champion, because there's no speed boost between Madame Saris and that last champion, there's still another tick of speed. That 325 enemy Arbiter is still going at 325 speed. So even if your Madame Saris or your Trunda's going at 180 speed, there's a potential for that 325 Arbiter to cut in. That's why that minimum speed gets raised up to 186. And because Madame Saris is, we already established, is going before Trunda, that's why the minimum speed gets raised to that level.
Now my Lysandra's back down to 238.83 now that I've got all four in there.
Yes. Because she's using her speed ability, right? Mm-hmm. She has that special ability to put speed. If you say use Lysandra's A1, you're going to notice her speed's going to bump up along with everybody else's, and they're all going to be about the same because there's no speed improvement in between that.
Yep. Because it's not just a meter boost, it's also a speed. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Exactly.
And when I put the A1, that does bump it up to a 263 requirement. So yeah. And so they automatically set it up to calculate and know which A1s, A2s, A3s affect speed and meter.
Yes, all of that is actually already in here.
Cool.
So that's cool. Already established. Yeah, it's a very cool. Zombie did a hell of a lot of work to make this as easy as possible. You don't have to figure out if someone has a speed boost or anything. You can choose any of the champions. It's all automatically in there. You don't have to put in the base speed of a champion. Like even I didn't do that with my calculator. There's a lot of really good tools in this for people. So yeah, this makes it pretty I think pretty easy for people to be able to figure out how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, this is great. So now I know if I don't want to get cut in, I know I would need my Lysandra at 240. She's actually at like 268, so I know I'm good. And then my Saris is at like 200 something, and then my Trunda is at 200 something as well. So according to this, I would never get cut in as long as I use the abilities in this order.
Exactly. Not only will you never get cut in, but you actually can lose some speed and like add more crit damage or attack percentage or something to increase the survivability and the damage dealing of the team that you have. You have speed to spare now.
Yeah.
And you know that, and you know the actual thresholds of that. Now that said, there are of course abilities that enemies can do. So like there are passive abilities of enemies. There are masteries that they can take that can alter that equation for you. So that is definitely something you want to take into account. So there's one other thing. There's a couple other things I should point out, though, since we're here and you have your team in there. So like I said, all this stuff that we've done here, this is the basics of speed tuning. This is like the simple stuff, right? This is make sure that if, the enemy team is, Joe Schmo and there's nothing crazy coming down the pipe, you will go if you go first, you won't get interrupted. Doesn't take into account enemy masteries, doesn't take account enemy passive abilities, also doesn't take into account some of your abilities. What I mean by that is there's some accuracy abilities that some of your champions have, specifically Lysandra, because Lysandra doesn't just put a speed boost on your team and doesn't just do a turn meter boost. She also takes away turn meter from your enemy.
Yep.
So if we want to see how that works, you see that ally accuracy under her box?
Under Lysandra?
Yeah.
Ally accuracy, yes.
Go ahead and click that to yes.
Okay.
And look at Madame Ceres's speed requirements.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is one of the reasons why Lysandra is the most effective speed champion in this game. Because not only does she boost your team better than anybody else, but she also cuts the enemy speed a huge amount. So the actual speed you would need, if that lands, though, it is dependent on accuracy. So that's why it's
accuracy doesn't refer to her accuracy stat. It refers to, does the ability accurately land? Yes or no?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Will it proc? Will the other team resist it or not? So at high end levels of like platinum or even gold, you get a lot of teams with these huge resist teams, and you can pretty much guarantee Lysandra's ability is not going to land. So you would maybe click no, and that's going to give you a higher threshold, but it's going to tell you, look, even if it doesn't land, we're still going to be safe as long as we go with these speeds.
Yep.
Right? We're only relying on our abilities.
Yep.
But, at some lower levels, definitely, and even sometimes with gold and platinum, if you want to see, when you click that, you can see how low the threshold would be using Lysandra's ability. So that's just an option. We can click that to no for now, just so we kind of have an idea.
Okay.
One thing I do want to show, if you have a second, I want to show how effective Lysandra can be as your fastest champion as opposed to like an arbiter. Why she's so good at what she does.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
So, okay, the only thing we're going to do, we're just going to switch arbiter and Lysandra. We're going to keep all the other stuff. Let's imagine Lysandra's 325. Let's imagine arbiter's going second for us.
Okay.
They both have their skills on their A3 ability.
Okay.
But I think we're going to see haven't tested this, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see a pretty significant drop in the speed requirements. So you can see once you do that, the actual need for arbiter speed, instead of that 338 for Lysandra, it's now only 220 or 238. It's now 223. We shaved a good 15 speed off of that. We shaved a good 6 or 8 speed off Madame Ceres and Trunda too.
Because her going first lets us tick that 30% speed proc sooner.
Exactly. Exactly. That ability, it really helps over time. It's less for the instantaneous stuff. Turn meter is definitely more effective when it comes to arena because you're only doing a tick in between. But it does add up, and it will have an improved effect. Now, if you click ally accuracy on Lysandra now, in that top spot, you can see the speeds drop considerably for all of your champions. And that makes a huge difference. So that's one of the reasons why Lysandra's so incredibly good as a clan boss, or it's an arena champion, I should say.
Yeah, that's so honestly, if you're going to use Lysandra and Arbiter, you'd be better off swapping the gear and putting Lysandra to be the faster one.
It's true.
And not only that, but Lysandra's a dungeon goddess. So having her in that gear for like Fire Knight and those type of runs would be insane.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. It's something that if I wasn't using both my Siphi and my Arbiter and my clan boss team, I would probably move Lysandra into my Arbiter gear so that I could use her in arena and be more effective in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I'll definitely swap their gear and try that out. This is why tools like this can be so handy, because it lets you really min max things and perform at the optimal level. So no, that's great that we kind of found that out live. I'm gonna try that out. We'll switch the gear between my Arbiter and my Lysandra and see if that helps any, if I can.
We're gonna start seeing Chosen and Plat all day
right,
now.
Yeah, right. Because like you said, you can, instead of using speed sets, you could put in Savage, you can put in crit damage, you can really build a team that's gonna hit ridiculously hard, and as long as you go first, nothing's gonna survive it, and you can min max it.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like anything else in the game. You want to use your champion's abilities to the max, and that allows you to gear your team up as best as possible. And knowing those thresholds really says, okay, well, I don't need all this extra speed. I can put that into something else. Or, maybe you look at it and you go, you know what? I don't need the accuracy on Lysandra. We're fast enough as it is. Well, I don't need to put accuracy on her then. I can move that into something else. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but, it's an option. Like, you have those abilities, but once you know those speeds, it becomes a lot more relevant to you. Now, before you start regearing your lower speed champions, something we should definitely look at. Do you want to switch Lysandra and Arbiter back, or are you happy with?
No, that's fine. I mean, whatever you think would be better to show, that's fine.
It doesn't really matter. I want to show some of the more advanced.
Yeah, we can leave it like this. That's fine.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and take ally accuracy off Lysandra.
Okay.
Because we've established basically the minimum speed to not get cut in. But there's kind of a maximum speed to not get cut in too, which is going to be affected by enemy champions, their masteries, their passive abilities, and sometimes our own masteries and passive abilities too. So I want to kind of show what that can be as well. So it's not like if you find these minimum speeds, this is the thing. This is the simple version. If you do the simple version, you're not going to get cut in probably 90% of the time. But it doesn't mean you can't be cut in, because there are things the enemy can do to alter that.
Valkyrie is the famous one with the passive.
Exactly. Exactly. So we can actually account for that. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. We're going to skip the hegemon section for a second, because that's a special thing. But if we look under Lysandra, do you see there's underneath in the gray boxes, there's ally skills, enemy masteries, and enemy passives.
Yep.
So I just pulled a Molly yesterday, and I'm really excited about it, because Molly has a sweet passive where when she gets hit, she gives her allies a turn meter boost. So if you look under ally skills, you'll see there's a few ally skills that those are skills that when you're on offense you can use. But under enemy masteries, or enemy passives, this is what I wanted to point out. Under enemy passives, you'll see there is enemy Molly Tankard.
Yep, rowdy crowd. Yep,
exactly. And if we click on that, you're going to notice the speeds for Arbiter and the rest of them go up.
Yep.
And essentially what that's simulating is if we attack Molly and she gets hit, how that's going to affect our speed as a result, or the enemy speed, and that increases the requirements that we need not to get cut in. Now, we're using Lysandra. Lysandra doesn't do an attack on her A3. We don't have to worry about
So you'd have to go down to your first person that attacks, which in my case it would be Trunda, so it's a moot point because that's the last.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
But like with a Venus, somebody who attacks and debuffs. So you would have Venus possibly going second or third. Now you got to put that in to make sure that Molly getting hit by your Venus isn't going to proc you to get cut in.
Exactly. Exactly. So that kind of can bump up the minimum required speed you want. And, obviously that's a case-by-case basis. There's also CORSAIR is another champion that's in there who you'd want to account for. Now, somebody that we actually do want to account for, because we have Lysandra, is Valkyrie. Valkyrie's passive. As you add buffs on your team, Valkyrie's passive begins to act. So Lysandra just does one buff. It's a speed buff. So we do enemy Valkyrie jealousy. That's her ability. One buff type applied. We click that and we see that those speeds of Arbiter still go up.
Okay.
That's simulating the passive ability that Valkyrie can use. She's an incredibly strong arena champion, primarily because of that. She can interrupt a team very easily.
And not only that, but it messes up your order of things. So you all of a sudden you have your debuffer going after your nuker, and Valkyrie really screws things up.
So this is why that can be really good. Now, on the same token, right, she doesn't just add speed to her team, but she can take it away from you guys. So if you click enemy accuracy and turn that to yes, those speed requirements go up even further as she starts to activate her abilities on both sides. So
a lot further,
So if you go, if you realize, hey, my resist's not that great, you might want to go ahead and do that just to see how it's going to go and if it's going to interrupt you. And then oh, there's a Valkyrie on the other team. Maybe I need to put in a different team.
Yep.
This team's going to get speed cut.
So you can almost have like a team that's like a glass cannon nuker, and then you can have a more utility nuker where you can swap people in that have higher speeds and aren't min-maxed for damage quite as much.
100%, 100%.
If you really wanted to get fancy and min-max things,
we don't all have that level of champions available to us.
Yeah.
But definitely those higher end plat teams do. And eventually, a lot of people have enough champions, and at some point, you just have champions. It's like, how do I use them?
Mm-hmm.
This is a good way to do it. You can actually specialize some teams for certain champions, and maybe not the whole team, but maybe you go, okay, look, I don't need maybe an arbiter going second for me. Maybe I can bring somebody else in, but I do know I'm going to need a really fast arbiter when I face Valkyrie in order that we can stay ahead of her. Or something along those lines. Or maybe I know, okay, I need to be really tanky at this point. I'm going to bring in a Sandlash Survivor so that we survive the enemy hit, even though we're going to get cut, and then I can still continue to take my turns. But you bring in you have those kind of options ahead of you, and at least you're going in understanding why these things are happening. But like that enemy Valkyrie jealousy, like Valkyrie's going to do that on Arbiter's turn too when she does her A3. That's also going to put another buff on us, that increased attack buff. So you can go ahead and put the jealousy on her, and you'll see that bumps the speed up Madame Ceres. You can put the enemy accuracy on that, and it bumps the speeds up even further to around 250. So you can see, like, even though we're faster than our minimum, the minimum we established earlier, it doesn't mean that we can't get speed cut. And it also means that, you don't necessarily want to take those speeds off. It's something that you're going to want to consider, but you're going to want to consider that in relation to everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is why Valkyrie is so good and such a good speed cut type of champion. Can really interrupt the enemy and give your team a lot of options to use instead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the Valkyrie one is definitely something you want to look at. I'm gonna go ahead and take those off here right now.
Yeah, I reset everything back to normal just now.
Perfect.
Yep.
So the other option is, now it's going to be, so with your team, this is a little different just because let's do I think instead of Madame Ceres,
okay,
let's put in Stag Knight.
Okay.
Stag Knight is a champion I use a lot as my decreased defense champion.
Yep.
But Stag Knight does that on an attack.
Yep.
So the reason why we're going to put Stag Knight in is I want to look at the enemy masteries. So under Stag Knight in the green, we're going to look at the enemy masteries because this is another way that an enemy can cut in on you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a few different masteries that can bump the enemy turn meter, right? There's Arcane Celerity. So when a debuff gets removed, when their debuff gets removed, they can go faster. We don't really have to worry about that too much with this group. There's Rapid Response, so when their buffs are removed, that can bump things up. And then one of the other things this is the one I want to show right now is Cycle of Revenge. So that is when an enemy champion gets critted, there's a 50% chance that they get a turn meter boost. It's in the defensive tree. It's an incredibly strong mastery, but that really can bump up the speed requirements needed. So if we click that, you'll see that our minimum speed jumps up to 203, I think.
Yep.
Now, you're probably going like, wait, Stag Knight attacked. Why is Stag Knight's minimum speed going up? It's because the minimum speed actually goes up for Trunda, and Stag Knight is going ahead of Trunda. And so that's why that speed requirement got bumped up.
Yep.
Someone also might be wondering why Stag Knight's required speed is actually less than Trunda's. It's because Stag Knight has a higher base speed, and so the speed aura actually is going to make them faster than Trunda in this respect. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yep, good points.
So that Cycle Revenge, by clicking that's going to that's if we do an attack, it gives the enemy a chance to increase their turn meter, and so that bumps up our minimum as well. And that's a fairly common thing, especially at the higher ends of Gold 4 and in Platinum for sure. If we go back to Madame Ceres,
okay,
instead of Stag Knight,
okay,
we can show Arcane Celerity. Oh, not Arcane Celerity. I'm sorry, Rapid Response. So when a turn meter, when a buff gets removed,
okay,
turn meter gets bumped up.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep.
So if we do that, because Madame Ceres rips buffs off of people,
Yep.
You can see that again, the minimum speed goes up as a result of that. Now, those are all percentage chances. So even for the enemy, they're not going to proc all the time. But since we're trying to find like the minimum speeds, because we're trying to tune our team, this lets us know. So you said your Trunda and your Madame Ceres are over 200 speed. You know that even if Madame Ceres rips a buff off an enemy, we're still not going to get cut in because their speeds are still strong
And
enough.
is there a way to do like rip 2 buffs off?
It doesn't, no, because it's just when
It's just a proc or not. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So you can see that you already have a really good speed team because the things that you do are only going to affect, even what they do affect, you're still fast enough to recover from that. So you're not going to get interrupted even if you are ripping buffs off of
Yeah, I would say, especially for people out there that are using Ceres as your third spot or your second or third spot, that's an important thing to keep in mind because it is very common to rip off like shield sets and stuff like that. So putting in at least at a minimum that gray, rapid response is a good thing to kind of take note of, at least for sure, because that's a common one.
Exactly. And so I mean, that pretty much covers that. I think most of those abilities there. There's enemy masteries that you do want to be aware of, and those are good things to put on because you don't have control over that, but they can have a pretty profound impact on your actual speed. You also have enemy passives that you'll want to look at for specific enemies. So, CORSAIR is somebody that we're seeing more and more of in the arena, especially when paired with the Manaya. Now, this is paired with the Manaya. You can see a little note under it. Manaya must be on the same team because that way they'll counterattack regardless of what stuff you have on your team. And you'll see Molly Tankers, you'll see Coronars, you'll see Valkyries, and this gives you a way to adjust for those. Taking those off though for now. Okay. If we go back up to the very top, I guess the enemy hegemon section. So this is the other, I think, really important area that we'd want to cover is hegemon, because hegemon is, god tier for arena. Obviously, we all see them way too often. It's very annoying to fight. So if you can see, there's 2 parts here. There's if enemy hegemon and if allied hegemon. So if the enemy has a hegemon, it's those first 2. So this actually allows you to account for your own mastery procs. So ally mastery. So if you put cycle revenge on your champions, if you put timely intervention on your champions, which is when like a champion dies, you get a turn meter boost. So there's a what do you call it? Like a
chance,
a plan, a strategy. Yeah. Strategy. That's what I'm looking for.
There you go.
There's a strategy that you keep like a level 1 champion,
or like
really weak. And basically, when they die, it gives you there's 100% chance to work. Timely intervention works 100% of the time. If a champion dies on your team, you get a turn meter boost. Basically, when a champion drops below 25 HP. So if they're dying, that's definitely under 25% HP. But you can put this on like an arbiter or something, and that'll give them a huge turn meter boost. For your team. And so this is a way to kind of test some of those strategies out, those theories out. And it works really good with the hegemon, obviously. But you can put that in. So a lot of people, they'll put a level 1 champion in with an arbiter with timely intervention. They'll use that, and then arbiter will use, instead of their A3, they'll actually use their A4 to revive that champion. And then they'll get another turn, so they'll use their A3 to buff your team further. And in that way, you can have a slow arbiter really take the lead against an enemy team. It's a very effective approach to things. It's if not, frustrating and maddening to deal with. But it is a really good one. Which actually I should point out, arbiter skills. So I know we're using the A3. If you click it actually to A4, you're going to see a huge change.
On the arbiter A3. Okay.
Yeah. You'll see Madame Ceres' speed drop down significantly. The reason why is that A4, typically the A4 ability is a 20% turn meter boost.
Okay.
But when you revive an enemy, you get an extra turn. So because this is really simulating that first round, this A4 has both the turn meter buff from the A4 and the A3 ability in there. It is a 50% turn meter increase.
Oh,
that's not
okay.
skill. What this is simulating is
Yep.
using that very strategy, using
Yep.
Arbiter's A4 into the A3, so that you can practice that on your own.
It's okay. It's simulating the A4 and then A3 all into one effect. Yep. Okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I do want to point that out. It is like an aberration to the calculator, but it's one that's used fairly often. So I want to make sure people understand that.
Okay.
Because the rest of the time you're going to use the A3. There's no reason to use the A4 instead of it. So
Yeah.
unless you're reviving a champion.
Yeah.
So you have those masteries that are available for you for and basically that's what if an enemy hegemon goes. So if they go, and because they can they won't strip your buffs, but they might crit, hence cycle revenge, and they might knock somebody down, hence timely intervention. Which is why those are available there for allied masteries. For allied passes, you have CORSAIR, who we mentioned before, when combined with Manaya, has a very good chance to counterattack. And the counterattack reduces turn meter. And you also have Molly. Molly has that 15% turn meter increase when they're hit for their allies. So you can put that on, and you can see if you click that, the enemy speed goes up. Your fastest champion speed is already determined. But what Molly's thing does is gives your team a boost. So your 325 can actually compete with an enemy 378 speed champion if you have Molly's ability and they have a hegemon that's going to activate her skill.
Yep.
So that's what that goes to simulate. You'll also see Manaya's Lover sacrificed. So she gives your allies a 20% turn meter if she's killed. So that's another ability that's in there that can activate, much like that level 1 champion we were talking about. Manaya's sacrifice is one of those kinds of skills. So that's if there's an enemy hegemon, and the allied hegemon is in reverse. So let's say instead of I don't know, Trunda or Madame Saris, we actually have a hegemon down there. We don't need to fill it in, but let's just say we do. Okay. Our hegemon's going first, but because they're going first, they can proc some of the enemy masteries.
Yep.
So they can proc Cycle of Revenge. Yep. They can proc Timely Intervention.
Yep. And so then if you have the hegemon, you'd want to make sure and put those gray boxes in just to see what you're up against.
Exactly. So like if you put enemy Molly Tankard, you can see the enemy display speed drops considerably. So now our 325 Lysandra has to compete with a 271 enemy because of that boost. So you can see Molly's passes, one, very effective, and makes the enemy team go a lot faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are things that you want to consider. So one of the things a lot of people put a hegemon in their defense. You're going to want to be aware that there are counters to that. And those counters are pretty common. So you might want to adjust your team as a result of that too. And just anticipate that the enemy is going to be going considerably faster than they would be otherwise. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously, Hegemon has a chance to lock out skills, which helps a bunch. But these are things that you're going to want to keep in mind. And like I said, this is a tool, much like the Clan Boss Calculator. It's a tool for you to improve your team. It's not like this is magically going to make anything helpful. The tool's only as good as the artisan that wields it. So, you can get as much or as little out of this as you want. If you want to really tune your arena team and make it completely impenetrable and get yourself up to platinum, this is a tool that's really going to help you with that. If all you want is just to be, get yourself pretty well tuned so you can farm successfully, this also will be helpful for that. So, yeah. But I think that covers most of these things. I just want to make sure. I know I talked a lot. I want to make sure.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's okay.
Anything that I should clarify, or you have any questions?
Is there anything big that's missing that they're in the process of adding, or is it mostly kind of it's good to go?
Most everything is in here. The one thing that isn't in here, so like a champion like say Sylar. Sylar does a really good skill where they decrease the enemy
laden legs,
right? Yeah. They also put a decreased speed buff on or debuff on your enemy. Now the decreased speed is it's not like a super high chance of that proccing. It's dependent on accuracy, it's dependent on chance percentage. So that isn't included in here. The one thing that's not included is decreased speed. It is something that I think in future versions we we'll probably look to incorporate as another possibility for you. But part of it is that if you use Sylar, you have to use ally accuracy to ensure that the decreased turn meter works, because it's an accuracy ability. So you already have to do that. And then because decreased speed is a percentage chance, I don't know that we want to tie those two things together. The turn meter part is much more likely than the decreased speed part. So it's a little bit of a gamble. And to reiterate, we're trying to find the minimum speeds we need to go first. We're not trying to get speed cuts. So erring on the side of the enemy being too fast is probably in our favor. So that's the one skill that's not really included. Not just that skill, but that debuff is not really included. It is something I think we'll think about putting on in the future, but these things are they're time and money intensive to actually, update and change and add stuff too. So it's definitely something I know Zombie Lord's thinking about and looking at. And I'm sure, in the future at some point, we'll probably put that in there.
Yeah, that's great. And I want to make sure I'll put it down below, but where can people find Zombie Lord? I'll put a link. Does Zombie only stream? No YouTube?
Yeah, he's just started streaming. It's pretty new for him. He's one of those guys who just likes to, it's more like his priority is making sure that this tool is available for the community. He's not trying to go full-time like I am, or isn't full-time like you are, but he's just trying to put this out there for the community to use. And so I think he enjoys doing the Twitch, being able to communicate with people, answer questions. And if anybody has questions about how this works, come to my Discord. We have an arena section. Zombie Lord is in there fairly often answering questions. I have Wistix in there. And by the way, guys, if you found this interesting, you probably should check out Wistix Calculator. There's actually a link at the top of this page because I had to move where it was located. So Wistix Arena Calculator, we moved it, but it is still there. It's another really good tool for you guys to use. He has a wonderful write-up explaining how speed works in the arena and how speed tuning can be helpful for you. Don't cut me, bro, was his thing. So both of them are in my Discord fairly often answering questions. They're both super awesome guys that just want to help the community, which is, I think, a pretty rare thing when people they're not looking for themselves, they're looking to help others. It's really awesome. I'm really proud of these guys. But yeah, so if you have questions about how the calculator works or, speed tuning your team, that's a great place to go to. Just don't expect them to do everything for you. Be willing to put in some of the work, but they will answer your questions. They will help you out. That's kind of what my whole Discord's about anyway. So we're just really trying to give people the tools and help them understand them so they can better their teams anyhow.
Cool. Yeah, I'll link to all that stuff you mentioned down below. Yep.
You asked about Zombie's Twitch. I'm sorry, Zombie's Twitch.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Twitch.tv /Zombie Lord. He does it's Zomb 13 Lord Gaming.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's on the video. It's on the screen here. It
is. And if people do have questions about how this works, we go through. I have 2 tutorials on there. One going through the basics, one going through the advanced concepts at the top of the calculator's page. So that we really do go step by step. Shows you each individual spots. There's breakdowns in the description, so you can click to a section if you just want to figure out one section of it. I try to make it as easy to understand as possible for everybody. So yeah, I think it actually does a pretty good job of making it digestible. So if anything in this people didn't understand, we have tools there for you guys to use to figure it out.
Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, this ended up being a really good learning experience. I'm glad I waited to use it, and this was a great opportunity to see how it works live in action.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Well, on our way out, let people know what you're up to and where to find you and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see. I'm still doing the YouTube game, so check out my videos. I have Clan Boss videos coming out. I'm starting to do more champion focused videos as I have. I'm trying to use some different champions for Clan Boss, and my focus is obviously Clan Boss. That's my love, my passion. So I do try to focus a lot on that, and I am trying to show different ways you guys can tune stuff. Look, can I tell you, I'm really excited. I have the coolest Clan Boss tune. I'm gonna put out a video I think tomorrow, hopefully, or sometime this week for sure. But I tuned a team with Vergis. I used Vergis Clan Boss, tuned it to use Sepulchre Sentinel, so they use their ability between the 8. It's awesome. It's one of the it was very complicated and hard to do. It's not actually something I can replicate in my calculator currently, but I am super excited about it. But I got that coming out. I got a little video on Vergis coming out. I'm gonna do a walkthrough with Zombie Lord sometime this week, and we're gonna talk about different arena strategies, so that this calculator you can actually use it for specific strategies. I'm on Twitch. I'm trying to get regular on there, so we're on there, 3 or 4 times a week, trying to do some streamings. I do like a lot of account work, answer a lot of questions, drop a lot of knowledge just on the Clan Boss and how it works and on the game in general. We mostly just have a good time and chat a lot, so definitely fun. I'm just doing. I got stuff all like just doing a bunch of different things. Honestly, we're still working on the new calculator. I'm hopeful like sometime this month or next month we're gonna have it released and out because it is really a big step forward. I've chosen to tell you I've kind of given him a sneak peek of it to test around with and play with. But like I'm very excited. Like these next couple of weeks are gonna be pretty exciting for me. We got that Hot Wing challenge coming up. I get to take down Scratch. You're going down, Scratch, by the way. Going down.
Yeah, that'll be a fun thing to watch. And no, you guys are doing great work there on the website and adding tools to it and resources, and it's definitely an amazing tool for players. I'll link to all this stuff below. So if you guys, if this is your first video seeing Deadwood Jedi or on my channel or all that type of stuff, definitely check it out and you won't regret it because it's definitely going to help you be a better raid player. So all right, man. Well, yeah, this went really well and I had a lot of fun. So you're always welcome on the channel. I'm sure I'll have you on again here in a few weeks or something. I hope so, man. It is always a pleasure talking with you. Anytime we can learn something and laugh a little bit, it's a good time. And pretty much every time I'm on here with you, that's what happens. So I definitely enjoy this. Well, there you go. Well, then have a good rest of your day, and thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you. You too. Take care. Alrighty, so that's going to do it for this video. Again, huge shout out to Deadwood Jedi for taking the time to join me in this video, and also Zombie Lord for putting in the time and effort to make this calculator. I really think it's an amazing tool. It's going to be a great resource for the raid community, and I will link in a pinned comment so it's super easy to find all this type of stuff like Zombie Lord's Twitch, DeadwoodJedi.com, and everything that you need that we talked about in this video. So as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.